other thing that Europe has, I can't, sorry. I think your hair color is starting to transition.
He's going back to that somehow.
Good. Your hair is revolting. It's not revolting from it's revolting from its previous colors. You colored it too much.
Yeah.
It's staging a coup.
I haven't even dyed it that much.
You haven't had the same hair color for any month that I've known you.
Blonde. I've had blonde.
You had blonde for a couple months, but then after that you went a little bit.
I used to only do temporary.
I like how you stepped up your game. Well played.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, yeah, just well played. You got some blue, you got some purple, you got some red. I kind of want to see like rainbow Eddie. I want to see like a strip of each. A mohawk.
My mom can't do that. She,
I want to see the mohawk with a
I-
spike, like the
I-
spike mohawk,
I have-
with one color each spike.
No, I have had my hair a mohawk.
And then you need to put a
I
chain
have-
through your nose
No,
and connect it to your wallet.
I don't even have a wallet.
Well, I'm telling you.
I
it's a
had
complete
blonde.
look.
I had blonde hair, and then I had the tips blue.
I like it. But I'm saying one spike, I want a spike mohawk,
My mom can't
different
do
colored
that.
spikes.
My mom can't do that. I would have to go to a hair salon.
So, economic unions. Hi, JC.
Mr. Miller.
Very here.
I was the chiropractor, actually.
What were you there for?
My leg got rotten. Is this the second?
This is the second.
How many lines should I leave?
6,
Seven.
7. Kate says 7. I took a shot at 6.
You're not that old to have you back here.
All right, back on task. So, there's economic unions in Asia. The largest one is ASEAN, ASEAN. It's the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And you should probably know a handful. So you got Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand, the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Myanmar. All from the same. But as this area becomes more developed and as they become more industrialized, they decided to team up as a collective instead of competing against each other. If you all work together, the chances of you being able to be a little bit more efficient and negotiate better prices increases. I'll come back at the end of the JC, so you don't have to catch it all. Just so you understand where all those countries are, when we talk about Southeast Asia, those are all those countries. So now, the test, I'm just gonna provide that map, and Jado, you're gonna point to Brunei.
Okay.
Think you can do it?
Probably not.
Okay, then I won't have it on the test. Jado's had a rough week, you gotta throw him a bone every now and then.
Clearly.
Just don't do it again. Or just don't do it again.
We kinda talked about it already with developed countries, but population-wise, there is areas in Asia that have millions of people in a small, compact area. And then there's areas of Asia that have nobody for miles and miles and miles. Now, obviously in the mountains, there's not a lot of population. Mongolia is fairly mountainous, fairly hilly, not a lot of good land to grow food for people, so Mongolia has never been really populated. When we talked about Chinese dynasties in world history, one of the reasons why the Mongolians left Mongolia is because they needed to eat and thrive as a civilization. They could not do that stationed in Mongolia. Then the whole western side of China, very rural still. And very sparsely populated. But on the eastern side of China, where the access to the ocean and the water is, that's where all the big cities are in China. We talked about Japan. We talked about India. And all those countries on that map, Thailand and Brunei and Myanmar, those are all very densely populated places. So in case you didn't know, China is the most populated country in the world. India is the second most populated country. How many people does China have? China's got so many people that they only let you have one kid.
So you better hope you don't have twins.
So, and they'll let you have twins. But one of the things that's kind of messed up is that as you see adopted kids from China, they're almost always female. Not always, but almost always female. The reason is because you only get to have one child that you can keep. So if you and your wife get pregnant and you want a boy to carry on your name, and you have a girl, you put them up for adoption. And you keep having kids until you get the boy. Because you can only have one.
Did you know Kate's family can do that? Huh?
I can read that. That's a story for another time. But I can remember having, after Mallory was born, I can remember your dad saying, "Well, I think we're gonna have we're gonna take one more shot for a boy." And then he said,
Twin girls.
they're twins. I'm like, "Hey, congratulations." And they're both girls. I said, "Ooh, that didn't work out the way I anticipated." After the twins were born, he didn't tell me, "Hey, I think we're gonna take one more shot for a boy." He goes, "We're done." So even though China has a one-child policy, India doesn't have any policies as of right now. But they're running out of space for people, honestly. China still has more space for people because there's a whole bunch of areas to the west that nobody really lives in. India doesn't have much space. You don't need this, we've talked about this. We've talked about the large cities, Tokyo, Beijing, Bangladesh. And we've also talked about how we have really urban and really rural areas. And in the rural areas, like we talked about, there's still subsistence farming, just growing enough food for feed their family. And there's like Tokyo, that's a like, has anybody here been to New York? So if you go to New York, it looks, and you're in a building, like let's say you go to the Empire State Building and you look out over New York. It kind of looks like that. The one thing that is different from Tokyo than New York is, New York is a little bit more spread out area-wise. It's got like twice the amount of area. And so you see how all these buildings are kind of stacked right on top of each other, and see how far out they go. New York is a little bit more spread out.
The light's not like that either.
Yep.
They have a different light.
There's Shanghai. Somebody did Shanghai.
That's me.
What's the name of that tower on the left?
Good question.
So
Should
you-
probably incorporate that.
There's Singapore.
Can't you like not chew gum in Singapore or something like that?
I don't know. I know if you steal something, they hit you with a stick.
Oh, I thought you said to cut your fingers off.
Well, no, because there was an American, like I can remember when I was in high school, there was an American kid, or maybe I was just in my first year of college or something like that, but there's an American kid that was on vacation. I don't know if he was on vacation, but he stole, like, he shoplifted something, and they caned him. They call it caning. They take a bamboo cane, like a bamboo rod, and make you stand up against the wall, and smack you across the back.
Do they have a panda flag?
There's the Silk Road. We talked about in world history. You can see how it went across China. You can see where Marco Polo made his stops. We talked about it a lot in world history. We're not going to talk about it at all here. But we will cover Hinduism and Buddhism. Hindus are mainly in India. It is one of the world's oldest religions. Most religions that started in 3000 BC or earlier aren't around much anymore, really. If you remember, like some of the things we talked about in world history with like the religions of Egypt and the Greek gods and the Roman gods and all that stuff, that was happening around that same time, and all that stuff kind of went away. But not Hinduism. The other thing that's unique with Hinduism isn't a one founder type of religion. It's more of a discovery, I guess maybe is the best way to put it. They have pockets within the religion that people have done a bunch of studying or done a bunch of praying or done a bunch of meditating, and they have revealed truths. And as these truths are revealed, they start to incorporate them into the religion. So Hinduism is a little bit fluid at its conception to incorporate new information as it arises. Vishnu is one of the Hindu gods. Hindu has more than one god. Vishnu is in a variety of forms. You'll see like kind of how they have like Buddha on a, for Buddhists. Vishnu is a six-armed god. Sometimes she has a elephant trunk.
Is that the ones like the,
Yep, so it's like an arm here, a set of arms here, and a set of arms here.
all like this?
And she's blue.
Blue.
Take an octopus.
Exactly.
Except with two others.
Make a picture of that one. Good. That one. That's that.
Alright, thank you. Good luck, baby.
Go to the doctor.
Yeah, for her knee. It is.
So, like I said, Hinduism has a handful of gods. So they're one of the few religions that's still polytheistic. That means more than one god. Most religions that we've talked about in world history started as polytheistic. Most religions, as it is right now, are monotheistic, meaning one God. Their supreme spirit slash God is known as Brahman. Brahman can take many forms. Some of the main tenets of Hinduism. You have karma, where how you act in this life can come back and affect you in the future. They also believe in reincarnation. So sometimes karma is a concept that's been taken from the Hindus, and it's like, okay, so if I go over there and I'm really mean to Eddie, then something bad happens to me, and they go, that's karma. Because I was mean and somebody's mean to me, it goes full circle. For Hindus, karma it means that, but it also can affect you in reincarnation. So let's say you have a dog, and you're real mean to the dog, and every time you walk by the dog, you kick the dog, or you beat the dog, or whatever, you're mean to the dog. Well, then you're going to be reincarnated as a dog to an owner who does the same thing that you just did to your dog. So that's the other part of karma. I guess what I'm saying is don't be mean to your dog.
Have you gotten your dog yet?
Not till the middle of the day. I want to have a little bit more time when I'm around before I get it.
You gotta be scared of the dog.
Well, yeah, I don't want to just put her in a kennel for 2
He
weeks.
doesn't wanna become a dog, so
What's that?
you don't wanna become a dog, and you
No.
don't beat.
Exactly.
Or left alone.
Exactly. So, the other thing with India and Hinduism is there is a caste system. And whatever level of society you're born into, that's where you stay. So if you're born poor and in the lowest class of people, you can never climb the social ladder. You can't marry somebody rich and move up the class. You have to stay with the people that you're with.
So Aladdin's not a real one.
Well, Aladdin is in the Middle East,
Oh.
not India.
Smart one.
But there's a whole bunch of movies and shows that kind of go about that, where, you know, they're in the market.
Stealing red books
Yep.
and such.
Yeah. So, but that's not, and it's been relaxed a little bit, I think, maybe, I don't know. I guess I'm not in the caste system, or potentially trying to marry somebody out of my social circle, I guess, I don't know. But they do have, at one point it was very strict. And then you have like arranged marriages, because it has to stay within the same system. Last one is Buddha. We've talked enough about Buddha. We've talked about quite a bit about Buddha when we talked about China and world history. So Buddhism and Hinduism share a lot of things. Karma, reincarnation is one of them. One way to think of it is kind of like the relationship between Christianity and Judaism. Share a lot of similarities, not the same. One big difference between Christianity and Judaism is that Jesus fella. It's kind of where they diverge. But a lot of the things carry over. There's meditation and there's, like I said, karma and reincarnation. So there's a handful of things like that. And Buddhism is more widely spread than Hinduism. The other thing that's unique in Asia, and you found out, I think Emma did something about Japan when she did her mega city, but it's like Japan, like Shinto, you guys did a little thing on Shinto religion, and like 80% of the people in Japan follow some sort of tenet in the Shinto religion. But there's probably 75% of the people also follow some sort of Buddhism. So the separation of the religions in Asia is not as strict or as noticeable as it is in like the States. One of the main reasons is they're all kind of similar, although they're all a little bit